Part A. Lighting equipment. There's a wide range of equipment and accessories in lighting.
Flood lamps, spots, diffusers, scrims, gels, reflectors. You see some here. You can see that big white thing off to the right with a screen on it. That's a diffuser. There's other types of lights. There's those red heads. The body of the light is red. Those are called red heads, and they're a common light that's used in video. Notice there's black flaps on them. Those are called barn doors. They let you control the direction of the light. And there's stands. All the lighting is sitting on different types of stands or tripod. It's all out there for you. You can get this kind of stuff. But do you really need it, and is it practical for most of your video making? Probably not at first. The tool that you may want to get, though, is a sun gun or a movie light. This is an example of a movie light that could be mounted, in fact, right on the camera. However, that's not the way to use a light. It's much better to have the light off the camera. But the main reason for having a movie light like this, I wonder if we can plug it in behind there, is in many indoor environments, the lighting really isn't adequate for video. Video does require some light, let's face it. You will get images in dim light. All the salesmen will try to sell you a camera that they say works great in low light, but it isn't going to do the trick because you don't have enough light to get nice, crisp, contrasty, colorful images. A movie light like this is convenient because it's handy. You can carry it around. It's easy to put it onto a stand or a tripod if you have to, and it does a great job lighting up the room. You can see we're in a big room here, but by even just bouncing it off the ceiling, I can do a good deal of illumination with it. Okay. They range in wattage from anywhere from 100 watts right up to 700 watts. That's close to 700 watts. And usually I would say get at least a 300 watt movie light. I like this one too because it has a protective glass in front. It is possible occasionally that a light will burst, especially if it gets sprayed by something wet, or sometimes in old age, they'll, rather than just die out, they occasionally can, or as rare as it is, burst. If it bursts, it could do damage to the surrounding people. If it's protected by a glass plate like this, less likely there'll be damage. Now, you may have old movie lights from the bygone days, reflectors, steel reflectors with bulbs. Even that will help in some of your video making. The trouble is those bulbs usually don't last too long, and they're not always all that bright.
Another choice is an on-camera light.
That's what they look like. They sit right on your camera. These are usually much lower wattage. They're only like 10 watts, 20 or 30 watts. Often they're battery powered. And the idea is that, let's say you're in a reception somewhere or indoors, you put one of these on your camera and it illuminates the area close to your subject. Don't expect this light to throw a beam of light way across the room. This is intended to work at close range. The newer ones have auto sensors in them that if it's too bright, let's say your subject is wearing a bright shirt or a white shirt, they have sensors where they'll actually reduce the intensity of the light a little bit, because these can actually be too bright or too hot if your subject is close to the camera or if the subject is wearing light-colored clothing. Bear that in mind. The only thing is I find this is very unflattering. To put a light right on the camera is unflattering. It shines right in the subject's eyes. Often the subject will squint. Quite often they're used in a darker room, so as soon as you turn it on, the subject goes, "Oh no, what have you done to me?" And they don't usually go over all that well. And really, when you think about it, lighting is usually from above, not straight on. Sometimes you'll see a large shadow behind the person, and as you move your camera, the light is on the camera, so the shadow is moving and the light is moving. It looks amateurish. For the odd bailout, it could help you out. We are not overly high on them.
To hold a light, you'll need a lighting stand. Or use an extra tripod.
If you're into some serious video making, nothing looks worse than having your buddy holding the light, and maybe he's a little bit drunk or he's had a few beers, and you say, "Hold that light steady, will you? I'm trying to shoot old Joe over there," and he's kind of holding the light and he's going all over the place with it. So you see this shadow moving. It doesn't look professional. So really, to get professional lighting, you should have a lighting stand. They can look like the ones on the screen, or you can use an additional tripod. If you had a spare tripod, crank it up quite high over the heads of everybody that you're shooting and aim it at the subject and you get a nice result. Or you can bounce it off the ceiling too, like we said before.
Using a reflector to fill in harsh shadows is often helpful.
This is crinkled aluminum foil on a sheet of cardboard. See how it adds extra light? So when you use it outdoors, you can even blind your subject if you're not careful. But it fills the shadows.